Hello, everyone, and welcome into Season 2 of the State 48 podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Matthews, bringing you all things AZ, and I am so excited. It's my pleasure to introduce the Valley's very own Coach Dar.
Hello.
I am so excited you're here in our fresh new studio. Look at you.
This is amazing. Honestly, I said when we started, I'm like, could you please set this up in my home? It's so nice.
We have people that can help you with that, luckily. But we are so excited because obviously you are so much a part of our family here.
Yeah.
And this is actually my first time meeting you, but a huge fan already. So if
Thank
y'all
you.
don't know, Coach Dar is a mental edge and leadership coach working with various professionals and athletes here in the Valley and beyond. So I know this is going to be a very good podcast. We're going to be highlighting your new book coming out, The Art of Bouncing Back. And I am all about like what you do. I am the person that gets in the car. I listen to the podcast. I do any type of, I mean, we'll talk about it, but meditation that I can actually like calm my mom brain with. But
Get centered.
this is really going to help a lot of people here today.
Thank
so I'm
you.
excited about it.
Thank
and you're
you.
very, like AZ here. With your platform, what you do to
Yes.
help people is amazing. So we're actually going to start with a quick little game that we like to play here. This one is Finish the Blank.
Okay.
So you ready?
Yes.
Okay. The quote I live by is...
The quote I live by is,
Already
that's a
putting you
good
on the
one.
hot seat.
Gosh, I read so many quotes a day. Only because because it's fresh, because it's from the book. I wrote it.
Plug the book, girl.
Which just setbacks don't define you, comebacks refine you.
Yes.
And so often we think our setback is going to define us. It's over. And I want to say, no, like the comeback is where you get refined. Like the comeback is where everything starts to happen. Life actually starts to get really meaningful when you bounce back from adversity because now you've got some grit. And I always say like the best 30 for 30 is the person who overcame like the most grueling odds and they made it. And so that's what the comeback's all about.
I love that. I did read that quote last night, and I just kept saying it to my husband. I was like, the comeback.
Yes.
He's like, that's a good one. Next question. My greatest accomplishment has been...
I feel my greatest accomplishment has been the ability to help so many people around the world that I feel, people ask me, is it hard? And I'll say, no, it's an honor. I feel blessed that I get to do what I do to help people not only overcome odds, but reach their fullest potential, be their best version that leads major companies, which has a ripple effect in this world, that leads countries, that leads teams. And so to be able to do that, that's truly an honor. And I feel grateful that I get to live in my purpose because I know not everyone gets the chance to. I hope they do, but I love that.
It's your superpower.
Yes.
I want to be known for... These are deep questions,
I know.
right?
I was like, damn, this is good. I want to be known for inspiring greatness and that I helped someone believe in themselves to achieve what they're called to. And a hope dealer.
Ooh, I like that. My morning routine looks like...
Oh, that's locked in. My morning routine is as soon as the alarm goes off, I set my Alexa to a song the night before. So it's an anthem song. So I might be playing Biggie one night and it plays in the morning, or it could be like the Superman theme. It could even be Frank Sinatra, it could be Aretha Franklin. Like it could be anything, but I set an alarm the night before to a song. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm waking up to like an anthem. I'm waking up to something that inspires me.
I am stealing this.
Everyone should do this.
I didn't even know you. So you just tell Alexa,
yes,
set my alarm for... What time's your alarm set for?
6:30. Set my alarm for 6:30 to whatever song we're going to choose. Just think about it. Players don't come out of the tunnel unless there's music. We're waking up to like the game of our life every day. Like get up to an anthem, start your day with an anthem and like get out of the tunnel to start your day with music.
Oh my gosh, mind blown.
Yes.
I'm going to use that.
Yes.
Gosh, that's so good. Okay. My favorite meal is...
My favorite meal, hands down, is when my mom used to make our Italian chicken cutlets the way she made them. We have this certain, we call it the Santore salad. They would make corn and usually some sort of potato with it. But that's like my favorite meal. And my sister knows when I come home, she's like, I'm making your favorite meal. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
I love it.
Yeah.
Italian from New York, correct?
Connecticut. The whole family's Connecticut,
Okay.
New York, New Jersey.
We
They're
have
all over.
Italian in the back. Does that sound delicious to you, Nicholas, that meal?
Absolutely.
We said season 2 we're going to implement you more. Come on.
My recent allergy to tomatoes that I've found out about, though, does not help, I don't believe.
But chicken cutlets you can have because there's no tomato.
Oh.
Yeah, no tomato.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
If we said chicken parm, you'd
There
be
you
in
go.
trouble. Just
There you go,
chicken
there you go.
cutlets, you'd be fine.
Yeah, well, I'll try 'em.
Yeah,
I'll definitely try 'em.
come to Connecticut. We'll share a meal.
Or if she comes out here and makes it here.
Oh, Denise, if you're watching, you just heard that. Get on a plane and get out here.
I'm joining in on this.
Not enough family members from out of state come to Arizona for some reason.
I don't
There's
understand.
no reason.
I know. It's so,
Beautiful here.
hello. It's like perfect days from now until May.
Yes, that is very true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm biased, but we all are here. The best part of my job is...
The best part of my job is, like I said before, coming alongside the people that I get to come alongside and be their trusted confidant, be the person that helps them find their strength within again, believe, and then go achieve everything that God has set them to go do. Like really get them to like lean into this and go do it, because by them getting to their greatest level, Kobe Bryant says greatness is not necessarily the accolades, but it's how you inspire someone else. And then that inspires them to inspire someone else. And the ripple effect of greatness is how you live. It's how you inspire.
Yes.
So I feel grateful to help people inspire them to greatness. So then they inspire a multitude of people to greatness.
See, this is already so good. That was just a quick little game we were going to play, but I just know that this is going to be off the charts. Just what
Those
you
are
have
good
to say.
questions.
I mean, I kind of do this for a living. Kind of come up with questions.
Superpower.
But thank you. But yes, I think so many people, like I said, are going to really gain something special, myself included. I'm just so excited to be sitting across from you and just have this time with you, because it is so powerful, mental health and what you're able to highlight and, like you said, inspire people every day. But I want to backtrack a little bit with your story, because it's so inspirational, and for people that don't know and why what you have to say is so powerful and profound, because you've had that comeback.
Yeah.
So if you could share with our listeners, people watching on, just a little bit about your story, who you were before Coach Dar, let's just say.
So I was this young, naive, but very passionate young girl from Connecticut, Italian family. I mean, my mother did a really good job where they gave us this strength of inner confidence to be there for people, to use our voice for others. And since I was a little kid, literally, I mean, I remember being on student council because I was like, oh, if you get on this, then you get to have a voice to help make change in the school. I was like, yes, please.
I love that.
Because I always want to be the person that could help affect change and be the voice until someone could find their voice. Not for them, just in the interim till they could find their voice. And I've been literally doing that since I remember, and obviously did that throughout all of school. And then I went to become an occupational therapist because I saw the therapist helping my grandfather when he had a stroke, and she helped him cognitively and physically and emotionally come back and gain the tools that he needed to. And I thought, oh my gosh, like that is so beautiful to be able to help someone in their hardest of times come back and find this new normal, this new way again. So that's what I did. I went to school to be an occupational therapist, and I started out taking care of traumatic brain injured patients, stroke patients, spinal cord patients. And when I tell you it's where some of the toughest cases came to our hospital. I would get sometimes on patients from 3 months to a year, but I mean, it's where you or I, all of a sudden, our whole life would be turned upside down by a car accident, a diagnosis, something. And you're told you might never walk again, talk again. You can't remember things. Everything's turned upside down. And the families are going, you've got to get my husband, my wife, my daughter. Like, I need them back to who they were. This can't possibly be happening. And so at an early age, imagine my role with an amazing team was to come in and say, don't worry, here's the vision. This is where we're going. And every day we're going to keep our eyes on that and we're going to work. So you're their therapist, their motivator, their coach, their counselor. You're everything trying to get them to overcome odds. And they did. And they did it so well. And that is one of those things you never forget because you don't take it for granted. That's someone's life that you're, is trying to get back from extreme odds. And so the irony of this is at 25, I was married at the time, working at the hospital. And my husband at the time, we had just bought What to Expect When You're Expecting. We wanted to start a family. I couldn't wait. I come from an Italian family and I thought, my ex-husband was an amazing athlete. I was a good athlete, but he was exceptional. I'm like, oh, we are so going to have good athletes.
We are breeding.
It was a good breeding ground. I was like, this is going to be good. And so I was excited to start a family. I had hurt my back at the hospital, went to a chiropractor, and just one of those freak things, when they manipulated my neck, they ripped the artery to my brain. And so it left me with a blood clot. I was bleeding in the brain. And that's a much longer story, but the long and short is it left me with a blood clot, and they told me you could die any day. If this blood clot dislodges, you could die any day. And so you're told, what am I going to do? How do I process this right now? So I just basically sat there and said, okay, I've lost all fear at this point. If they told me I could die any day, I'm going to worry about, maybe I'm going to worry about someone's opinion. I was like, no, I'm going to worry about taking a risk. Absolutely not. So I just was like, well, then let's go make the world better. And that's where this drive started coming for me. And I went back to school for business, and then I ran a few different companies. At 28, I was running a healthcare company, and I was just like on fire to say, like, what could we do better? Mm-hmm. And then in 2008, when the world was crashing, I just thought, wait a minute, people might have lost their job, even a lot of finances. And depression was on the increase, suicide, because there was a lot of distress then. But I had seen the worst of the worst. And I thought, no, this is not something you should give up a life on. Like, we could overcome this. If I help people overcome that. And I quickly started to realize, Lisa, that I mixed science, psychology, and leadership together just because that's what I knew. And I was like, we're going to shift human behavior through mindset. And I left everything lucrative, everything I ever knew. I mean, I came from a barber and a tool and die maker. We didn't have a lot growing up, and I was doing very well at the time. And I just left it all to start my own practice because I was so passionate about going, if I could just talk to people and tell them how to shift their mindset, all of these things that I'm board certified in, if I could just give you this knowledge. So I started speaking for free. I started pulling people together and just saying, I call them Nights of Inspiration. Come just listen. I'm going to pour into you. And that changed everything. And also at that time, my faith really grew for me. And I really was like, I'm on a calling. This is a total calling for me. Whatever happens, I was not even focused on the finances, which I'm not saying that's the smartest business plan at all. But I was so driven by the calling and the passion of what I was doing to help people that it took care of itself. And it's led me to now have a thriving practice coaching in pro sports and CEOs and world leaders and things that it's not like I actually had my eyes set on that. I just knew I wanted to help. I always knew I wanted to help a massive amount of people, however much God would let me do that. And so he's allowed me that, but it hasn't been without struggle because I've had 3 strokes now. And my 3rd stroke was just 3 or 4 years ago. And that was my worst and took away a lot of my speech, my fine motor. I would have trouble speaking or recalling. They called it expressive aphasia. I couldn't remember what I wanted to say. And I'm a speaker. But I did all my own rehab. I did literally all of my own rehab, came back, and I'm still here. So as long as I'm still here and I get to share this story with you, then I'm happy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I could go in so many directions right now, but I want to go into what that rehab journey was like for you when you're a professional at that point, therapist, coach, like you've helped people overcome this. I guess 2-prong, how much did that, obviously, I just look at it like that's God.
It is.
In a sense, like he prepared you for the road that you didn't even know you had ahead.
I mean, literally I'm treating the patients that I then deal with a stroke with the type of patients that I'm dealing with. Thankfully, I did not have paralysis. It was more in the base of the brain, which deals with balance and vision and everything. But so I had to I really got intimate with what they were dealing with. Even think about it, even from a family standpoint, now you're dealing with what they're dealing with on how it affects the inner core. And then years later, when it happens again, I've already had this point and put like a lot of a mental resiliency plan together for people. And now I was really, really leaning on it.
Living it out.
Literally living it out. And I went from having the stroke, having multiple strokes, told I couldn't have children ever because of it, to finding out in the middle when I'm writing the book, The Art of Bouncing Back, I get told by a neurologist, I'm 47 right now. And in the middle of writing this book, he says to me, did you tell me that you thought you couldn't have children? I go, well, hold on. It's not that I thought I couldn't. I was told. He's like, I really believe you might have been able to all these years. I thought. And I was in the middle of writing the chapter, Reframe the Game, how to reframe setbacks. I was like, well, let's just get real now. And I swear everything that I've written about, it's like there's been test after test going, what you wrote, can you actually apply? And I'm telling you, I've applied every principle in this book. I have been to help people bounce back. I used it myself, but then it all came like front and center while I was writing each chapter. Anything that I wrote, I experienced it. I was like, well, here's another litmus test on this. It works. It absolutely works, because I wouldn't be here today. Because it's hard when you're in the middle of it. It's tough. You want to give up. It's lonely. You get sad. But you can't give up, because what is your other option? So it's better to use the tools that you need to figure out how you're going to get back. Because once you do, which I have multiple times, you start to learn how to make this work for you and how to use adversity to help you flow, which is a crazy thought, but you could use adversity to advance you if you allow it.
Wow. When you were in the midst of getting, the reality of the strokes and the aftermath of that, what could happen, maybe speech. When you sit there and you're like, well, I'm a public speaker, this is what I do for a living, where did your mind go as to, okay, because I'm sure you're like that shifter, pivoter, obviously you have to be in the business. What were you going to do?
Well, I sat there for the moment, and I also couldn't read. So I could see words, but it would give me an intense headache when I look at it. So I was like, I can't really read what I'm seeing. The words don't want to come out what I want to say. And I was supposed to be writing speeches and giving them. And I thought, God, what is going on? Like, why is this happening? And it was that moment that it was like, you've got to find the inner grit to figure this out, because this is going to lead to a lot of things that are going to help you. And it was moments where I'd even make a shake because I was so hungry and I couldn't open the container, and it would just, or I'd make something and it would drop out of my hands all over the floor. And you just sat there and you go, and you learn a principle I teach, emotional agility, because you could let the environment and event completely affect you, or you could take it and process it and go, what am I going to do about this? So when you pause from anything that's happening to you, you now could take control of your emotions so you could respond appropriately versus reacting to it. Yeah. And that's been a game changer, because growing up in an Italian household, it's like, just react to however you feel.
I think that's how we're all raised. Yeah. Reaction based.
Say it. And having emotions and having passion is okay. What you do with it is okay or is not okay, depending on what you do with it. So in those moments, I dug deep. I put myself into speaking engagements, knowing my speech was not all there. And I said, listen, here's what's happening. I wrote the points out the best I could. Here are the 3 points. If I forget, you remember. And I just started putting myself in what my brain knew was normal for me before. And that got me back into the game faster, because I put myself into a situation that I had to overcome. And then it worked.
Wow. So I kind of got out of that. There's a message in the mess.
Absolutely.
There's a reason as to why you face that adversity to now then be able to, what you're doing, help others. And you went from not being able to read to writing books. So here we are.
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I don't know how I did it. But that took a long time. That was a long process, because my stroke happened. Gosh, it happened right in the middle of when I was trying to write it initially. And then, a lot of things happened after that from adversity. But it's not easy for me to write because I could speak better than I could write. Because when it goes from here to me wanting to put it on paper, it's like I lose it. And I don't know what I want to say, or I had it. And because my brain is going so fast, sometimes I will voice text and it's still typed out, but I have to voice text it because I can't type it as fast as I'm thinking. So my brain is like, get it out, Dar, get it out. So I tried to speak a lot of my book out, and then someone graciously helped me kind of put it on paper. And that's how we worked together on it because it was hard. It was really hard for me.
I didn't know it was written in the midst of this. Then.
Yes,
wow.
yes, yep. All of this. It's been
so inspiring.
This has been a long journey. This book, they wanted it on a fast track because it's the art of bouncing back, and who doesn't need to know the mental skills and tools to bounce back from anything, and not just bounce back, but how to grow mental resiliency so that you're ready for when things happen. So this, we're taught, you can get an MBA, you could go learn entrepreneurial skills, you could go learn a language, you could go watch tapes on how to play a sport, but you are not taught the mental skills on how to handle life. And that's where I was like, no, we have got to do, I've got to give people, I'm literally giving people the coaching plan I use with my clients. Here you go. These are the 9 principles I use to teach anyone mental foundation and what I use myself. And I was like, you're taught all this, but you're not taught how to do life. And this is not going to make life, I'm not going to be able to take adversity away from you. And it's not that life gets easier, you get better at doing it.
Well, I cannot wait to get my hands on this book and just take in everything. Can you give us quickly, I know, because you want people to read it, obviously. So the 9 principles, your playbook for life, it sounds like.
It is. It starts off with embrace the suck. I was not going to start this book off with positive Pollyanna anything, because if you're getting this, or you're in a space, or you just want to learn mental resiliency, for me to come off and be like, just be positive, you'd be like, put the book down. This is not real. And all the people that I've helped and the things that I've gone through, if someone came to me, I'd be like, get out of the room, please. I don't want to hear this. But what I do is I teed up with, and what I would do with anyone is, I'm coming alongside you. We're going to embrace this together. It's going to be tough, but the moment we can embrace it for what it is, we now know how to handle it. Because if we don't embrace it and accept it, we can't handle it. So I get you right in that mindset right from the beginning. And then I go into principles about, understanding your fundamental hardwiring, like you said, your superpower. Everything can be taken away from you, but they cannot take away your gifts and your talents. You could change roles, you could change jobs, you could, whether your kids grow up or not grow up, to wherever you want them to be, that doesn't change the gifts that you have in you. Money doesn't change it, roles don't change it. So when you understand your hardwiring, when things start to tumble a little bit, you go back to, hold up, a lot could be taken away from me, but they didn't take away who I am, who you were created to be. You could always stand, and that is firm foundation. And these are principles that build on each other because we're building a foundation that goes. And I made it in the book, a diagram that's a circle. The reason it's a circle is because nothing's linear. It just keeps going. And by the time you get through the book to the end where it says, turn the page now, that's principle 9. Like, you went through it, let's turn the page on it. Something else might come up. And it doesn't have to be anything catastrophic either. I mean, it could be something big in your life, but it could be as simple as you start your day, something goes wrong at work, it doesn't go as planned, or at home, you get a phone call, or with your child, and you now are in this tizzy, it sets you off, and you've now thrown off your whole day, their whole day. It's like, hold up. How do you get the mental skills to bounce back from anything, even in the small things and the big things? Because if you could work on this in the small things, you will be more equipped in the big things, because it's like working out. You go to work out, your muscles get stronger. That's what I'm teaching you with mental fitness and mental resiliency right now. Use these principles, apply them, and you'll get stronger every day. So then when things come, I've had so many of my clients and players say, gosh, Dar, after working with you, now when things have hit me, I normally would have broke. I would have been pissed off. I would have not have bounced back like I have, but I handle it so much better. I'm like, well, then we won. We won. We did it. And you're going to keep doing it. And now you've learned the grit of this. You've learned the tool. But like anything, it's like working out. If you don't use them for a while, you've got to get back into the mental gym and practice again.
Yes, I love the ties, obviously, to sports, which
Yes.
we need to get into. You worked several years with the Phoenix Suns and now branching out with other athletes across the many leagues. And what's so awesome about that is I worked 8 years in the NFL, so I saw how players would tick and, you know, their human side and the elements of that, but not so much to putting mental health at the forefront. And the most important thing, obviously, when you're playing the game, any game, is having that strength and what you're able to bring to players. And in that sphere, what have you been able to then accomplish now in your, obviously we can't talk about who you're working with specifically, but just, you know, there's the journey that you're on with them, and what have you kind of seen as like the common tie between all of them?
I love that question, because what I want people to know is everyone's human. And it's their job that they get to do. And so it's still an everyday grind. You could love it. Like, I love what I'm doing, but it doesn't mean it doesn't get hard, and it doesn't mean it's a grind some days. And so consistently, whether you're in sports or not, running a company, leading a group, being an entrepreneur, trying to run your own business, State 48 and everything it's become, there will be days that you will doubt yourself. There will be days that you start to lose confidence, and there'll be days that you'll go, am I any good at this? Should I still be doing this? And you start to do comparison, or perfectionism or doubt. And so to be able to come alongside, like I said at the beginning, be that trusted advisor, that person, and say, I get it, what you're feeling, but we're going to work through this so that you can get on the other side of it, so that this doesn't just become a whole season for you of how you're thinking. This is a moment in time. It might have been a bad play, but you're not a bad player. Let's reframe this. And that's a big differentiator. Like, if you were at work and something doesn't go well, or say something goes wrong in your relationship or whatever, a bad day, even a bad year, a bad situation doesn't mean a bad life. We have to learn to not catastrophize the whole situation. And there's an expression, don't put a period where God intended a comma. Don't put a period and think this is over when it's just a pause. It's a pause for refinement. It's a pause to get reignited. It's a pause to restart. Maybe you have to reframe it so then you could go better again. And that's why the comeback is the refinement. It's like where you get gritty, you start to get better. And through all of the players that I've worked with and people, I mean, it's been over 100,000 people, which I sit and think, wow, that's crazy. But the common theme is, when you start practicing and doing this every day, and you start to learn that everything is working for you, not against you, even when I have my stroke, I'm like, this is not working against me. This is going to work for me. And it has. It is I'm here to be able to tell the story. I'm here to be able to write the book. I'm here to be able to help people. So it's all in how we reframe it. It really is. And everyone goes through challenges and doubt, and we all need someone by our side to say, I got you. I feel you, I hear you, and when you're ready, let's do something about this. But you have to talk it out. You have to harbor everything inside is not good, but also to then just explode and let it all out in unhealthy ways is not good either. You need someone who is really good, that comes along your side, that could be that support for you to guide you through this, and that's how you deal with your mental well-being.
I feel like I got my therapy session in for the week. I don't know about y'all, but this is so amazing. I mean, oh gosh, my brain literally is going in many different places right now. And I think I want to touch on, and we kind of were speaking on it, just the importance of, putting mental health at the forefront, especially for these male athletes that you do work with. Yeah. And a lot of it is, hide your tears, hide your fears, and get out there and just man up in it. And I think you being able to soften that narrative, not only coming from a female perspective, but just being a voice, to advocate for them in a way.
And I want people to understand, let's start calling this like even mental wellness. Like you don't have to have a problem to be working on your well-being. And that is something it's brain health. It's literally brain health.
Yes.
So people hear mental health and they still think stigma. Like you must have a diagnosis of something. And if you do, no problem. We'll help you with that. But it's also about brain health. It's mental fitness. It's mental wellness. How well do you want to think, see, feel, hear, experience. How well do you want to experience all of this game of life? Well, if you want to experience it all, let's keep working on this so that as things come in, you filter it with the appropriate filter, not from past pain filter, not from old triggers filter. You start filtering it with the correct mindset. So now you go, oh, this isn't fight or flight. This is just a challenge that I've got to deal with. So let me deal with it rather than trying to run away from something or make it something that it's not. Because otherwise you lose your position, you could lose your relationship, you could lose your career because you were not dealing with it in a healthy way. And this has nothing to do with a diagnosis. This is just how you perceive life, because we all grow up with these challenges that then put walls around us, that then we start filtering and perceiving and putting biases to things. And now you're like locked in like soldier, and you're like hard as rock, and you don't feel anything. Mm-hmm. So, and the pendulum went from like lock tight, no emotion, to then now we're getting into some of it is overexposing and sitting in the pain so much that now you're just sitting in sorrow and pain all the time, where we've got to come back a little bit to the middle, which is sometimes, my father passed away right at the end when the edits were going in for the book just recently.
Wow.
And I'd already lost my mom 3 years ago, and then I just lost my dad. And I had to go give a speech right after I lost him. I had to get on live on a show. And people are like, and by the way, when he was in hospice his last few hours, we were sitting there and I had a player that called that needed something. And I went and took the call because at that moment, I had already said what I needed to. So, I'd made peace with the situation, but I was like, this player now is life and I need to give life to that situation. So my purpose led me to be able to lock in, to be able to help someone. So I say this because from a mental fitness standpoint, how you build grit is that there's times when you process emotion and feel it, and there's times when you're just gonna have to lock in and go. So the military, they're seeing unbelievable things happen. Their soldier goes down, but they still have the mission to follow. How do you do that? It's mental conditioning. When everyone lost Kobe Bryant, they had to play the game. That's hard. They had to lock in. When you're working and something happens and you can't fix the situation, so there's nothing I could do. Maybe your child's sick, but they're taken care of at that moment, but you have a show that you have to be on. You could say, okay, well, technically right now I could be here. You could be going live for Super Bowl and get a phone call. Can you finish out what you need to and then go take care of it? There is a little bit of, we have to learn this compartmentalizing and grit to see the mission through while still dealing with our emotion. But this is why it's a dance, and you need someone to help you to know when, no, go take care of that, or lock in. We've got to finish this out. It's a play.
Yeah, I had that vision of you obviously going through mourning of your father, yet being pulled in a direction to go speak, yet then someone needs you to fill their cup. Like, how do you take care of you in the midst of making sure you are taking care of others at the same time?
I don't know why I have this very large bandwidth. I don't know if I've been blessed with something, because I for whatever reason, I've been able to handle a lot of things all at once in a bandwidth. But I know what works for me is my faith. And I think that spirituality, I really believe with all my heart, faith, something bigger than yourself. When you're getting up and you're serving every day, my life isn't about me. I literally don't get up for me. Like, I didn't get up for me to be like, well, let's just go see what kind of fun we could have today. I mean, I love fun. I want to have fun all the time. I mean, that's part of my personality. But I know I'm getting up to say, how am I going to serve? And even when someone asked me on this road, I said earlier, they're like, is this hard in the middle of the book tour? And you're kind of like a puppet. You're go, 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 and show up. And I said, when it gets hard, I turn around and say, it's not hard, it's an honor. And the moment I start to get a little frustrated at times, maybe just scheduling wise of something, I said, hold up. I get to go serve someone today. I get to go speak life into someone today. I get to go share with you all today. Like, let's go. I could have not been here. I could be in a bedbound right now, potentially. But I'm not. And I don't know what's coming in my future. After 3 strokes, your odds multiply for more. I don't know what's going to come. So I don't want to live missing the moment right now. So the way I get through it with all of that is I keep my mind set in purpose and of service and of, knowing who I'm serving. And that truly is the fuel that keeps me going.
Well, you are spitting fire here today. We're so lucky that you spend some time with us. Last question, because I think it's so important, especially this day and age with social media and all the opinions of others.
Yeah,
I'm sure a lot of, athletes have to tune that out. And I'm sure you've dealt with a lot of walking them through those steps. But it could even just be anyone. You know, you're judged left and right for who you are, what you look like, how you dress. I can't believe you're parenting like this. You name it. But what would you have to say to someone who's allowing the opinion of others stop them from pursuing the life that they're meant to be or have?
It's something everyone deals with to some extent, and some just get, a little bit more aware of, let's think about this for a second. Often I'll say we are held back from rising up to our full potential because of what they say about us. I want to say right now, who are they? Who's they? Most of they are not even in the arena that we play in right now. I'll tell the players, these people that are saying this haven't even played a day in their pro life ever. Yeah. And they're spewing comments. They're not even the 1% in the job that they do. They're giving 50% effort. They want 100% pay. You're worried about what they say? Commentators, people, family members, they don't walk your walk every day. You want to accept feedback, accept it from the people that are walking the walk with you, know you and love you. Listen to them, block out the naysayers. The person coming out, the horse in the Kentucky Derby has the blinders on because it needs to, so it's not distracted to win the race. We need to put the blinders on to those that don't meet us in the arena that we're in. Feedback is great, but it's feedback from the right people, not the wrong people. So you want to show up and you want to accept feedback, great, but you're not going to worry about what other people say. I've had people say so many things over the years. Even being a woman in sports, I had literally someone say, "You mean a guy listens to you?" Ugh. And I said, what does that mean? He goes, "Well, why would a guy listen to you?" I go, "Well, who do you think raised him? Did he have a mother? I'm sure he probably had a mother, a female in his life."
I just want to stand up for that.
Yeah. I was like, how do you think that someone got here? There was usually a couple people in their life, but instead of getting upset, you reframe it. But again, I go back to, hold up, what did God call me to do? And I'm doing the other thing is, as long as you're trying to make yourself the best version of you, you could stay straight on path and people will start to accept if you trip up. The moment you don't take responsibility for what you're doing and keep tripping up, well, then a lot of the noise is going to come in. Then you got to take ownership, right? But from day to day, you step in and you own your confidence. Humble confidence, I tell the players all the time. I need you to have a little swagger. I need you to have a little humbleness so that your ego doesn't get in the way. But I need you to take the court, the ice, or the field with that swagger that you've been called here. Show up, soldier. It's time. Like Jay-Z, brush the dirt off your shoulders. Let's get up and go now.
I love it. I love when you get fired up, your accent comes on thick, thickety thick. I love it because it's passion right there. Yes, yeah. Oh my God, sign me up for a one-on-one coaching.
Let's go.
Because I know that's what you do aside from all the other wonderful things, speaking, and then your book coming out soon. How can we support you? Let everyone know how we can support you.
Right now the book's coming out, so you could go to CoachDar.com. You could go on Amazon, get a copy of it right now, and you may just want it for you to learn the mental tools, but you may want it also to pay it forward to someone. So this is a book that I want to have people have as a resource that they'll have in their home, and you get to pull it when you need it, read it ahead of time, and also connect with me on social. It's at the Coach Dar. CoachDar.com has all my social handles, but I put a lot of fire on my stories when I get fired up about something in a good way. But I'm giving mental tools every day on social media, all my outlets. Fireside Chat is also an app that I'm on usually every morning if I'm not speaking, but I'm here to pay it forward. And so I'm giving content out all the time to help people get the mental fuel. They call it a daily dose of Dar.
I love it. And did you know that Dar means to give in Espanol, in Spanish?
Oh my gosh.
That is what you're doing every single day.
That's awesome. Okay, you just made my day.
Mind blown. Now I'm blowing your mind. This is great.
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic. And that's how we'll end the first episode of season 2. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you. Thanks
so
everyone.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.